I'm with Elana Heideman, and we're talking about Hannukah. Now, Elana, what is the history of Hannukah?
Hannukah is the story of the brave Jewish warriors of the Hasmonean tribe, the Maccabees. And the Maccabees were resisting the fight against the Greeks who were destroying the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. This resistance led to a successful victory when the candelabra in the temple was lit by the miraculous oil that was found, and that oil, which was intended to only last one day, had actually lasted 8 days. So it is the story of a war. It is the story of a victory, and it is the story of the victory of the Jewish nation, which we continue to celebrate today.
And how do Jews today celebrate Hannukah?
Well, everywhere around the world, for all these 2,000 years, there is a menorah, which is a Hannukah. So you have the regular 7-candled menorah, like on the symbol of Israel. And then for Hannukah, you have a Hannukah. And this has 9 candles. So there are 8 candles and 1 shamash. The main candle, the shamash, is what we light and say blessings. And then we use that candle to spread the light to each new candle each night. So we count out and light the candles and make many blessings and sing beautiful songs of Jewish strength and pride, and we eat a lot of oily food.
Did children receive gifts over the period of Hannukah?
Not really, actually. Throughout history was that ever a part of the tradition. What Jewish children always received was usually a dreidel, which is the spinning top that has on it Nes Gadol Haya Po, was in Israel, and Nes Gadol Haya Sham from the diaspora, so a great miracle happened there. And they received a little, Hannukah geld, they called it, Hannukah money, a little gold for their pocket. The idea of gifts started primarily in the United States, and it was more because Hanukkah and Christmas overlapped so much that it became more of a part of the tradition. So in America, you do see families giving gifts, sometimes one gift, sometimes a small gift every night. It's more of a symbolic way of showing thanks, showing gratitude, and celebrating the miracle of our existence.
Do children look forward to Hannukah?
Oh my gosh, every year. My daughter already, it's all about the Hanukkah songs for already, since Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of the Hebrew month of Kislev, when we are celebrating Hanukkah, then we are celebrating with songs, already getting cookies ready. The kids start to create decorations. A lot of people decorate inside of the house. And one of the things we are expected to do on Hanukkah, because it's not a halachic, it's not by Jewish law a holiday or obligation, but one of the things we do is we publicize the miracle. So it's in my family, it's always clearing out which window we're going to put, where are we going to put it so that it shines out the window, and spreading our light all over the world. So kids do get really excited by it.
Is this holiday in the Bible, and do you actually read any specific scriptures over the time of Hannukah?
It is not in the Torah, but it is in the book of Maccabees, which was incorporated later into the writings. And so it is a story that is read and revered by many as emblematic of the history that we endured. But is it read by everybody? I wouldn't say so. I think that you've got today a lot of people who, like with every religion, they practice the fun part of it, but the learning part kind of falls to the wayside. So one of the key things we're trying to encourage people to do is to learn more of the history, because then we can understand the battles of the Maccabees that we are still fighting today. And we truly are continuing that fight for Jewish rights and Jewish existence that the Maccabees started.
Are there any special prayers during this time?
There are. There are the prayers you make over the candles, and then you also make prayers for being grateful for the miracles that God gives us. There are some really gorgeous songs, and some of them are about casting away the darkness. So, Banu choshech ligaresh, vekulanu or ve'esh. We have come to banish the darkness because each one of us is a light. And it's very much a part of how we as Jews internalize the meaning of the holiday, which is that we have an obligation to carry on the light and the legacy of our ancestors.
What sort of foods do you eat over Hannukah, and do you eat donuts?
Well, so you have your donut tradition, what's called sufganiot in Hebrew, and you have sphinge is another kind. So one is a Mizrahi style donut and the other is an Ashkenazi style donut. And they are eaten and celebrated because they are fried. The idea of eating fried foods comes from wanting to, again, celebrate the miracle of the oil, although not a lot of people are doing all their frying in olive oil these days, which would have been the real celebration of the miracle. But we have lots of latkes. Latkes are potato pancakes, fried potato pancakes. And you can look at even South American culture. They have bimuelos, which is another kind. So every community where there are Jews, there's a different way of incorporating the oil and the flavors. Some people make breads that are very connected and foods that are very connected to the land of Israel, because it's important to remember that it happened not only in Jerusalem, in the temple, but also in the land which we have to continuously grow our love and appreciation for.
It sounds like this is a very happy festival.
It is. Although this year is a difficult one to suddenly bring happiness and joy after going through everything that we're going through. But it is, every family does what they can. And in Israel, instead of having winter break over Christmas, so in Israel, our vacation is over Hannukah, so families are very together. And everybody's trying to do something fun with the kids. So now it becomes a little bit more challenging. How do you balance with nobody's going to very huge gatherings are not allowed. We're still living under missile fire, and there are lots of displaced families who are not able to have a joyous celebration. So we actually are involved with two efforts of bringing joy to these communities by bringing healing arts crafts. One is mosaic menorahs, and the other is different kinds of craft activities, pin light activities, which is a really special way of drawing a picture using tiny thumbtacks, so that the only way to see the light is if you hold it up to a window or you hold it up to a light, because we have to remember that the light of hope that lives in us comes from sometimes that tiny little dot of light, that tiny spark. So we're trying to do this also with communities from Sderot, from Be'eri, some of the different kibbutzim, trying to bring joy to this very joyous holiday during a not so joyous time in our life.
Yeah, Hanukkah was about war and then a massive victory and miracle. Jews today praying for a miracle. They're going to war at the moment. They're sending their sons and their daughters into battle. So are Jews today praying for a miracle today in this time?
I believe so, every day. Every single day. I think that even some of the people who thought they were completely disconnected from Judaism as a religion, and the mistake is believing that Jews are a religion or that Judaism is only a religion. I think that each one of us is really recognizing that the miracles we learn about on Passover and each one of our holidays we're living in it right now, and we need to beg and plead and recognize that our prayers do matter. So I think not only are we hoping for a miracle, but we're praying for that Maccabee strength, the ability to say we will have fallen and we will rise, because that is what the Jewish people do.
How are you celebrating Hanukkah this year?
We are going to be visiting with displaced families. We're also going to be visiting with some families of some of the victims of the massacre, bringing gifts and cards of friendship and artwork. As a family, we wanted to go away. We usually go on a vacation, but where do you go? There's nowhere to go right now that isn't under fire. So there's going to be a lot of bonding as a family at home and looking for ways to go out into the community and be together without adding to anybody's anxiety, but rather to reduce it. So you can't go hiking in the hills so easily where we live right now. So you've got to find ways to make a good balance, keep the joy, make it meaningful, and also keep away from the screens and the news, because that prayer of hope doesn't end. Every time we sit in front of the news, we get more anxious. So we have to reduce that and find ways for Hanukkah to bring in the light.
What is your prayer finally for Hanukkah this year?
A little bit of unity behind the idea of this story of Hanukkah, the idea that we have a right to fight for our Jewish rights. I'd like to see that around the world there are more and more people who will shine a blue and white light. meaning if you are decorating your house, then make your lights blue and white. If you are lighting candles, that your candles will be blue and white. That you go out and you're doing good deeds, mitzvot, community gatherings, that you will wear blue and white. Because there are ways that we can all join the army of today's Maccabees. We don't all have IDF uniforms, but we can all put on the colors of pride, and we can say, we stand by this people and this nation's rights. My prayer is that all of the people who have come to Israel will say, I know there is no occupation, no apartheid, and that everything I'm hearing is lies. I know that the Jewish people are justified in every single one, and I'm going to stand up for them. I'm not only going to come to the Feast of Tabernacles, and I'm not only going to come to Israel once in my life. I am going to stand proud, not only at the rallies, but every day, everywhere I go. I'm going to report on social media every single hate as terrorism. If we're not reporting on social media, they are literally right now, by the way, taking down Israel pages. My page gets threatened every day. You know, we have a war going on. So my prayer is that the world will join us in this war and that we can defeat the enemy of today.
I imagine many families here in Israel will be lighting candles also as well in memory of the hostages that are still there in Gaza.
Absolutely. We are encouraging many people actually to add to their Hannukah a single candle alongside the Hannukah that continues to burn in honor of these hostages that remain under the torture of the situation right now. We want to be able to, again, balance. Here is our light, and this tiny single light that we're adding is one that we hope will shine in the darkness wherever they are being hidden, and we know that some of them have been hidden by UNRWA teachers, and some of them have been hidden by doctors who have refused even to give them medical aid. We know that these hostages are being tortured, and so every light we can shine in our hearts and around the world, that don't ignore it. I don't know if you've seen, but there's a news reporter who they hear about the hostages and they just whatever with a roll of the eyes. It's like, we're sick of, I've heard it before as a Holocaust educator, we're sick of hearing about your gas chambers. Get over it, Jew. I've heard it. I've actually heard it to my own face. And that's what we're being told, and it is only 2 months ago. December 7th, the first light of Hannukah, is exactly 2 months. That number 7, October 7, will never leave our mind. It will always be the world before and the world after October 7th. So November 7th, that is the end of the Jewish mourning period called Shloshim. And the whole world, we also, blue and white unity, stand with Israel. Then we have now, 2 months later, and it is Hannukah. Now we need to not only stand with Israel and raise a flag and have a rally, we need to fight. We need to join the fight to protect Jewish rights, just as you would have wanted people to do during the Holocaust, during the Inquisition, during the destruction of Jerusalem, for which we are celebrating our victory today.
Okay, Elana, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, really. Thank you.